single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. It's a sugar-free fast melt caramel. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think, over the last week was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we've talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel. We're noticing other people losing up to 7 pounds in the first week. 4 pounds has been about the average. As you lose weight and as you take these Bella Melts, it's going to help lower that blood sugar in your body as well.
All the information is there. MelissaHouseBG.com, MelissaHouseBG.com. Just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 fast action.
Welcome to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for joining me today on this beautiful Thursday. It is beautiful for me because finally there's enough sun and enough temperature for the snow to start melting. So I might be able to see the street soon, maybe by tomorrow. So we are live as always on worldviewtube.com, worldviewtube, a Rumble and X account. Also worldviewtube app, which is available for free on your app stores, or you can grab it from worldviewtube.com/apps. There's an S at the end, APPS. We are also live on X America News on X, and we are live on my platforms on X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Substack. As always, I will be taking a look at your comments. The first, I should say, we're going to go over today. So instead of a 1 hour show, we're going to do a 1 hour and a half. In the first 30 minutes, it's me and you. And then after that, I will be joined by a very special guest, a first timer here on my show, but no stranger to the cause or to the truth. He's going to join me in about 30 minutes or so. And I should mention that my look is brought to you today by I ran out of time and I forgot. So just let's go with it. Hello, everybody. Hi, Lori. Good to see you. Hi, Annalise. It's good to see you as well. And Tennessee Girl, I see you here on a Rumble. And yes, Tom on X, we are here with you. Hi, Pokey. It is good to see you. I was not, unfortunately, Pookie. I didn't get a chance. As I just said, my look is brought to you by I ran out of time and I forgot. I ran out of time before I fell asleep on my couch last night. So I didn't catch Jack Hibbs and Hedi Amir Ahmedi's interview from last night, but Lord willing, there is weekend coming, so I will catch up with that then. Oh boy, yeah, Lori from Canada says we won't see our lawn until June. I know, Canada. And that's the thing, I'm not used to it. Ohio, especially Cincinnati, Ohio, we don't get heavy winter, but this year for some reason everybody got a heavier winter. So I just looked to the side and I just saw myself. I realized I even forgot to open my hair clip. That's all right. The hair out of the way is a good thing today. Okay, before we are joined by our guest who's coming to us today all the way from UK, I want to make sure to talk about this. I know everybody else is talking about it. I want to talk about it, I guess, in a different way or not, doesn't matter. I have published a while ago my thoughts on Substack about Epstein files, all of that. But there are things that it's just impossible to not talk about, or at least briefly touch on. So I want to touch on that because it's important. First off, I as you know, I sometimes glance at Patrick Bet-David's podcast just because he tends to sit there and do some really moronic moves. This morning I tuned in to see what is he about to do, and he had Alex Jones on. Now, those of you who know me, I am not a fan of Alex Jones, not as a person. I don't know the guy. I've never met the guy. I've never spoken to the guy. My issue with him is he's overly animated, over exaggerated, and I'm sorry, I get a headache when I listen to him for more than 2.5 minutes. And also, he does get it right at times, many times, but he also tends to dig a little too much of a hole. That being said, I'm like, oh great, look, we have two of my favorite people on air. I might as well let it run in the background while I'm doing this stuff. And I'm listening and I'm listening. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, things are bad. I normally don't promote Patrick Bet David, but this was the episode to watch. It was. Of course, you have to keep in mind, you watch his show, especially with Alex Jones on it, there will, in your own head, you have to do a lot of beeping out. But there was a moment of it, or 2 or 3, I don't know how long it is. I think it's like a minute, of Alex Jones answering a question to Patrick. And I'm like, we need to play this, because the reason I say things are bad is when Alex Jones says what Alex Jones said, I sit back and I say, okay. Even if for a second I thought I'm taking it too far, someone like Alex Jones just proved that I'm not taking it too far at all. Let's play the clip and then you'll understand what I'm saying, but I will elaborate on it. Let's listen to what Patrick asked and what Alex answered.
First administration, President Trump fired a lot of people. Mooch got fired within 10 days. Nearly 40 people he appointed got fired. Turnover was 43%. Now turnover's in the 20s. He's not firing people. Why is he not firing people?
I've got a good idea about that, but I didn't answer your question from 30 minutes ago. So or 20 minutes. I should probably answer that first because it answers this question. You asked me, if we were giving Trump advice, what should it be about Epstein? And I really did answer your question, but I didn't explain it right. The answer is you can't tell him anything, he doesn't listen. I mean, he's gotten to that point now where he would listen to certain people, and if you could give him facts, he would change his mind. And he's gotten to the point where that's not the case. And now, if someone just kisses his and by that, it's not that he even wants the attention. If they don't argue with him, then they can just stay around as long as they just tell him what he wants to hear, because he is beyond confident. And at 79, he's just. And so I wish we could get Trump to be a little bit more retrospective about that and listen to people that have only given him good advice in the past. He needs to fire Bondi. He needs to fire Blanche. He needs to bring in hardcore people. I mean, look, if you're not going to indict the Epstein thing because it's old and a mess and we get all that, not that I agree with it, but I get the logic. I understand the thought process. I think it's a mistake. I predicted you'd make the mistake because I knew about your advisors. But we need a bunch of Ilhan Omar indictments. It's cut and dry. We need real deep state indictments, people like Comey and Brennan and Clapper. The public wants justice, and instead we haven't seen any of that. And
Did you catch all of that? Again, I actually stayed tuned for the whole podcast, which was like 2 hours or so, in the background, of course. But when you have Alex Jones publicly admit that Trump has got to a point where he won't listen to your advice, he only listens to what he wants to hear. Now, why did this catch my attention immediately? Last year on Brannon House Live, Brannon brought up do you think he's got bad advisors or he's listening? I said he's picking advisors who are going to tell him what he wants to hear. It's not about the wrong people. It's about his wrong choices. I had to be patient like I've been for so many years, but well, there you have it. Even Alex Jones is at a point of there is no point of giving Trump advice anymore. And yes, I agree with the rest of it as well. American people want to see justice on all fronts. Yes, we need Ilhan Omar convictions, not just charges and investigations, convictions. And by Ilhan Omar is this example name. I'm sure you picked up on that. Yes, we do need Epstein arrests, trials, and convictions. We need justice. But I just thought it is interesting when I saw that. I'll be honest with you, I told you so smile popped up on my face of, well, Alex, take you long enough. But join the club. Welcome to the club of finally realizing there's so much you can cover up for your guy until you have to say, listen, I love the guy, but this is what it is. That was, I'll give him credit for saying it, and I'll give Patrick credit for not jumping in and trying to whitewash the situation. So that was that. Now back to the Epstein situation. He said, him being Alex said, people want to see, Pam Bundy fired, Cash Patel. By the way, I agree. Again, going back to this, it's going to seem like I'm doing a lot of "I told you so" today. Maybe I am. I don't know. I am. When Pam Bundy name dropped as a nominee, I was the first one to say why, and I got heavily attacked, of course, even from close friends. Of why are you so in a hurry to judge her, give her a chance? I'm like, I don't believe in chances when you already had a chance. I'm against second chances. I am. And with Pam Bundy, this wasn't a second chance. From day one, I was a no Pam Bundy girl anyways. But now, again, patiently waiting, year later, people want Pam Bundy removed, either resignation or fired. Cash Patel had my vote. And when I came to realize, when was that? When Cash and Dan Bongino sat down at Fox News and flat out looked us in the eye and said, Epstein killed himself. That's when I pulled the plug on Cash too. Again, I don't wait too long. It's not because I don't have patience. As you can tell, I have patience. I say what I say, and I wait until others come to realize what I said wasn't some emotional, womanish, harmonic idea. It was factual. It's not that I don't have patience, but in life, especially when I made it to America, for the first 20 years of my life in America, I was chasing after making up for lost time. I would receive so many comments or questions from close friends of, why do you have to do it all at once? Why don't you pace yourself? I was like, because I've lost 18, 20 years of my life technically, because when I arrived in America, I didn't start life. It took me 2-3 years to learn the language, find a job, find a culture, understand the laws, so 20 years of my life, I'm behind. So I was chasing to catch up. And it actually took me 20 years to catch up. When I turned 40, I felt like, okay, I am caught up. I am at a point in my life where I can feel like I was born in this country, and I have achieved what a 40-year-old would have achieved in America under normal circumstances. I'm neither behind nor ahead. That being said, I learned in life that you do not waste time on what is right in front of you. And again, emotionally, I have a switch. Those, again, close friends can testify that I am terrifying. Like when it comes to my emotions, there's a switch. I will turn it off in a split second, and I will choose when to turn it back on. It's the survivor method, I guess. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a mean person or a cold-hearted person, but I have full control over my emotions. With that being said, I immediately came out and said, sorry, I was wrong on Cash Patel. I had lots of hope for Cash Patel. But the point is, back to it. Epstein files are out, and I don't even think we need all of that extra 5 million, 2 million, 300 million, 5 bazillion million. We don't need the rest of it. What's out there is answering, I think it should have answered all the question there was. Either plain text or coded restaurant language, it doesn't matter. The answers are there. Those who want to take it, take it. Those who don't want to take it, they won't take it. But the biggest answer we have received, that I know still a lot of people have not accepted the answer, is that the bottom line is, no matter who's in the office, I repeat, no matter who's in the office of White House, Senate, Congress, DOJ, FBI, local police department, it doesn't matter. Certain group of people are protected in America. That's just the answer we have received. And if you're still in denial, I'll pray for you to snap out of it. If you want to stay in your denial, that is your corner, your cost, not mine. But there's a question that I feel like nobody's asking, and that is what I want to propose, and that is what I titled today's show. The question is, yes, we want justice, but, well, at this point we can tell. The question is, Epstein clearly wasn't just some pervert with plenty of evidence, proof on the table. He wasn't even just a ringleader of trafficking. He was way bigger than that. So the question nobody's asking is, who has replaced Epstein? Epstein's dead, been for a while. Killed himself, didn't kill himself. But do we really want to sit here and pretend like all the perverts, all the names that are being protected and the names that are not being protected, they all just suddenly woke up cured from their pedophilia, from their sick minds, from their psychopathic desires? They all just woke up, it's all gone? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. But we do need to take our first ad break, guys. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, I will conclude on my thought and I will read your comments. If you have an answer or a thought about the question I just proposed, feel free to pop them on the comment section. We'll be right back.
Life is too short to spend a single moment spinning in laundry worries. Take a load off your mind with the all-new Norwex Powerzyme Laundry Detergent. This natural detergent harnesses the power of enzymes and plant-based surfactants to leave fabrics fresh and clean without fillers, brighteners, synthetic fragrances, bleach, or harsh chemicals. So go ahead, have your cake and eat it too. More than ever, stressful stains have met their match. Powerzyme's fast-acting enzymes break down organic substances while natural surfactants loosen locked-in dirt and oil, removing residue, stains, and odors with ease. With 91% bio-based ingredients, this dermatologist-tested hypoallergenic formula is suitable for sensitive skin types and delivers a safe and effective clean that won't harm you or the planet's waterways. Less time spent worrying about laundry means you can focus on what truly matters. Norwex Powerzyme Laundry Detergent. Discover the power of nature and load up on confidence.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. I appreciate that. And just a heads up, two things. One, there are new products that just came out on Norwex, and you want to check them out. I will have the information and the ads soon, but until then, head over to cyruswellness.com, and try the products. And I have said it for, I mean, this is what reading a product is, right? Sounding like a broken record, but you will be very happy you have switched over in whatever genre you do, either cleaning, household, self-care, pet, kids. They're all great products. Also, myself and another consultant from Norwex, we are having a private Norwex party this Sunday. So if you like to join us on that private party, we're going to basically go over the new products. We're going to talk about them. There are prizes we're giving and all of that. No obligation, no fees. It's just an online party. If you want to join us on that party, go ahead and drop me a message, whichever platform you're watching, either Facebook, Substack, YouTube, X, anywhere. And I will send you the link to the party. It is inside Facebook. So if you don't have a Facebook account, unfortunately, you won't be able to join us. And did I mention there's no obligation or fees? It's just a party we're going to go over together. I'm going to be going to her house and we're going to talk about the new products. So there you go. This Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a Norwex private party. I look forward to that. I need something to take my head off of the evil, and what better way to do it than 100% chemical-free cleaning supply? You can clean your mind. Back to it. Concluding my thoughts. So the fact that nobody is looking into the steps of who took over after Epstein should be a bigger concern. As I said, I will not believe for a second it was it. That was it. His entire empire was demolished, destroyed, and all of his, from billionaires to non-billionaires, clients, per se, I don't know what to call them, sick-minded circle members, they all just, disappeared or went away. So I'm starting to look into it. If I find something, I'll be the first one to tell you. But I want to give a shout out to those out there who've been digging into Epstein, who have dedicated their lives to Epstein for last 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. You might have a lead you're just not aware of because you weren't looking for it. So I ask you to look back at your leads, at your notes, at your everything. You might get to the replacement person way before someone like me would. But it would be nice, not that, again, it would be nice if our government would do it, but we know our government's not going to look into that. But it would be nice if, with all the access we have, all the research, all the documents, all the footsteps we have, we should be able to pull a couple of guests as names and then dig in, zoom in, and collaborate until we find the name. That's the only way we can stop this. I'm going to come to your comments in literally a minute and a half, but I want to say this. Pam Bundy, you all seen the videos. I had a longer video to play, but we won't get the chance to do it today. But there's a shorter, like a minute video of Pam Bundy when she so miserably tried to deflect from the situation on hand. That's what got me thinking of, we are on our own on so many levels, but when it comes to protecting our children, forget about us. Protecting our children in America from what Pam Bundy said, seems like we have got to become our own protectors and protect our children. And I don't mean ours as of mine. As you know, I don't have kids. We all need to become one unit of protection for our children in America. That's just the way it is. Can we play that 57-second Pam Bundy video real quick?
And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be.
No, they're not kidding. She says we're going to make sure to make Americans safe. How? It is so disgusting especially when a woman sits there and tries to deflect and say, we got to look at the economy and the stock market and Dow and all of that, instead of talking about American children. I know it was more than just American children. I get that. But I'm going to try to say she's the Attorney General, America first woman in power. She literally just she compared the dignity, decency, and life of American children and adults, compared it to stock market. How is she still even there? We all know if Pam Bundy was in any shape or form, I don't know, AOC or Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton, you all know where we would be. I'm not hearing the screams. That's disgusting. And you all know my rule when it comes to kids. They're off limits. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background. I don't care your power. You're disgusting when you try to take the public's mind off by throwing some economy and retirement and IRA bone at them. You're disgusting. Again, I'll say that very easily because I was a no Pam Bundy from day one. And exactly for this reason, my whole point was while she was in Florida, she had selective outrage when it came to cases. Don't believe me? Go look at her background. No, we had to wait for her to prove to the entire country, instead of just one state, she had to prove to the entire country that when it comes to selective outrage, she has no shame whatsoever. She'll sit there and she'll sell you any possible sidetracking notes. And she'll tell you nobody should be even talking about this. What? Nobody should be talking about this. Stevie said, listen to Alex Jones for years without commercial, but quit him when he went full Candace. Tucker, Mike Adams, full Israel hater and liar. He sold out a few years ago or something. Yes. Hi, Shirley. It's so good to see you. I should probably say good evening to you because I know it's kind of getting to be 9-ish, 9:30-ish at night there. Bat says the Iranian people have been betrayed by the Americans again. Correct, but the Iranian people have been betrayed by the American government again. It is important. It's the American government that has betrayed them. Tennessee girl agrees on Pam Bundy. She needs to go. I don't care if it's a resignation. I don't care if it's a you're fired sentence. She needs to go. So does Cash Patel. So do many of them. But as Alex Jones said, Trump keeps people around him that will tell him what he likes to hear. So that now we have that confirmed. Though I said that about a year ago, now we have the confirmation from one of the insiders who would never admit anything about. Let's Talk 649 on YouTube says Epstein was pimping teen prostitutes to rich and powerful Satanists. Teen prostitution is still happening all over the world. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Bat is asking, wasn't Melania an Epstein girl? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know if it was. And yes, Bat, being Bongino and Cash Patel stared us in the eye and lied. Good. Shirley is like me. She has a brick wall that goes up emotionally, and they come down whenever she's ready. Good. So I'm not the only one with a switch. I call it a switch. I can switch it on and off when needed. And it's not necessarily about protecting myself. It's just, it's related to truth. Like when I'm lied to, immediately switch off. Like that's the biggest thing. Like, and I'm very good at, like, I spot a lie before it's completed. Terrifyingly. I have had few people who have tried and then later admitted that they shouldn't have tested my tolerance on lies. Well, too bad for them. Far too many high-ups are involved, so there will be no justice until the king of justice comes. Amen to that, Lori. Very true. And that's the thing. It's, you know, those who are doing the cover-up, I say this, those who are involved in the smallest or biggest way possible, covering up for, not for Epstein, but for those who under the umbrella of Epstein committed some of the most inhuman crimes against children, they better never claim that they follow Christ. Because when you do that, when you play into the let's cover up, then you just can't have that claim. I refuse to receive that message from people. That's me. Oh, I didn't know that. Again, before we played the video, I told you I'm not Alex Jones. It is just very telling when someone like Alex Jones says it. But Sean on YouTube says Alex Jones is a Freemason. He admitted it too. He admitted to it. I didn't know that. That makes a little bit of sense, actually. Tennessee girl wants to be added to my Norwex party. Tennessee girl, because you're on YouTube, the only way for me to add you to my Norwex party is if you don't mind, send me an email, liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. Send me your Facebook thing, or no, just send me an email. I reply with the link to the party. Yes, just send me an email to liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. Canada for Israel, welcome to the chat. Says, yes, sinners sin, believers believe. Lord, help us to fight the good fight of faith with the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. Ephesians 6 blessings. Amen, amen, and amen. That is literally, I saw your comment after I said what I said, but that's exactly where that comes from. You do not get to play both sides. You do not get to have it. What is it? One of the sayings in English that makes no sense to me is you can't have your cake and eat it too. By the way, somebody needs to explain that to me. You always have your cake and eat it too. If they talk about the after guilt for ladies who feel like we're getting fat because we're eating cake, I don't know, but that doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. Yes, you can have your cake and eat it too. Hey, Kendall, good to see you. Do you believe, this is from Kevin on Facebook, do you believe that the Epstein is alive and well in Tel Aviv? Truth be told, no, I don't. I do understand where it comes from. I do understand those who think he's still alive, but I don't believe he's still alive and well in Tel Aviv. Again, I'm more of a fact tracker. I sometimes sound like I'm joining the conspiracy theory list, but very quickly, within days or two, comes out like, okay, that wasn't a conspiracy. It was just some facts. She showed the receipt. On that point, all the facts points as he is dead. But as Alex Newman said on his show this week, I don't blame anyone thinking he's not dead. Canal is not happy with Trump either. I know we are growing in numbers. Unfortunately, at this point, it's even hard to defend him. Not that I ever did, but even if I chose to do it, it would be very hard. Sean says Trump was chosen to bring in the beast system. Don't forget he's owned by the Rothschilds. They bailed him out years ago. I have heard that. I have seen some of the documents, Sean. And I said this on Brannon's show. I said this last year on my show. I should go a little bit in 2024 on my show. And it was, of course, as you can imagine, the backlash I received. But I said, I want you to understand the reason I am not voting Trump. I didn't vote for Kamala either, but I voted for myself. The reason I'm not voting Trump 2024 is because I do not believe he's coming back the same Trump who was America first. I strongly believe he's coming back for revenge. And again, year into it, you might be able to see that he's taking revenge on those who he feels betrayed him, left him behind, didn't fight for him enough. But what you're saying is what I said. He's coming back to either finalize the crippling of America or take it into the next step. So, Sean, I agree with you on that. Jody says women shouldn't have that kind of power. What kind of power are we talking about, Jody? Tell me and we'll discuss it further. I agree, Kevin. It is disgusting that she didn't even acknowledge Epstein's victims. It is not even cool. Guys, we got to go take our next ad break, and I also need to check and see if our guest is here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this ad break and possibly bring the guest on, or we'll continue with your comments here. Well, hello, everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com.
thing, but I'm sure for this, I hope I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
Until now, I do love the time where I get to read your comments, questions. I learn from you guys, so I want you to know I'm very grateful when you do join the conversation, and we will do this more often, meaning me and you things, the streams, shows, live. I can't talk, brain fried. It's okay. Help is on the way, for real. You'll see in about 35 seconds. Help is on the way. And yes, just a reminder, if you like to support me financially, support what I do. And for those of you who might be new to what I do, I have a show Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 5, sometimes to 5:30, sometimes to 6 p.m. live on Worldview YouTube and my own platforms. I also do a daily Substack when I don't do reporting on the news. I do analysis. I do deep dive into Islamism, jihad, and the threats we're facing. Sometimes I touch on politics as well if it is related to the subjects that I fight for, which is basic human rights, especially children's rights. I also just finished my book, so I'll be starting on the second book. I do MP3s, I do speaking engagement across the country, and anything else I can do. So for those of you who are new, this is what I do, and that's why, and I am a fully supporter funded. I don't work for a company. I don't get paid to do what I do. I don't have sponsors. I have affiliates like Norwex. So if you want to support me financially, saraswellness.com, Norwex product, where I'm a consultant and I get a commission based on your purchase. Or you can go to my artist store, lutfstudio.com, lutfstudio.com. There's where you can find my handmade resin art, diamond painting, acrylic painting, and sometimes glass bases that are still made with a resin on top. And another way to support me is through my Substack. You can become a paid subscriber. You do get exclusive writing and stuff behind paywall. And liveuptofreedom.substack.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Those are the three main ways you can financially support my work. Okay. Our guest is ready, and I am ready, and that's what I meant by help is on the way. Though my brain is fried, our guest is going to come in and do most of the talking. As I said, he's the first time on the show. However, he's no stranger to the cause. His name is Gio Esfandiari. He is a British Iranian human rights activist, documentary filmmaker, also a strong advocate against terrorism, specifically Islamic Jihad terrorism, and also anti-Semitism since 2022 when Mahsa Amini was murdered in Iran and the Women Life Freedom movement started. He's been on the front lines exposing the murderer regime of Iran and fighting against them. Also, in the wake of October 7th, he has been fighting strongly in UK against the rise of anti-Semitism. Gio, what an honor and privilege to have you on Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me today. It's my honor to be with your program.
Absolutely. I am glad we could match this up. I appreciate you taking such a late night program because of the time zone difference. So we're grateful for that. Before we dive into, well, everything we need to dive into, I gave a brief bio of yours, but do you mind taking a minute or two and tell my audience about yourself in more details?
Hi, my name is Gio Esfandiari. I'm a British citizen, and I've been working as an activist for the last few years. And we started from Mahsa Amini revolution, and since then everything carry on. I had an opportunity to be part of the project for a documentary, and we are also working in another one. I'm working as a producer, working with a filmmaker very closely. And since Munich won, we started to think about how we can advocate, how we can have a think tank and lobbying against all the false narratives in the UK and across the Europe. So that's why we started Lotus Advocacy, and I had the privilege to be part of the team and working together closely to advocate for democracy and be voice of voiceless.
Wonderful. And guys, the link to the website is right on the lower third, and it's going to be there the entire show. Everything on that website is in English. So bookmark the website, read it, check it out. If they have a call to action, get involved. We like to be active and not just keyboard ninjas. So Juju, let's start here, if you don't mind. When did you leave Iran? How old were you when you left Iran?
Oh gosh, I left a long time ago. It's more than 20 years ago, and I was quite young by the time I left. I still remember the day we had to leave the country, but I said to myself, I never ever go back to this country as long as this regime stay on the power, and I never back after that time. That was the last time, and I'm hoping very soon after the Iran's liberation, we can all go back to Iran and celebrate their liberty with the other peoples inside Iran.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to join you on that flight because I can't wait. The reason I asked, by the way, it's I left Iran 27 years ago, and I haven't been back either. And a lot of time for our fellow Americans, Canadians, Brits, it's that question of those who are activists are those who just left Iran and faced, present or oppression yesterday. So I wanted them to understand there are many of us, like myself and yourself, who left Iran a long time ago, but we left our homeland due to the oppression, not because we don't love Iran, not because if there's opportunity to go back, we wouldn't be the first in line to get on planes and go back. And the scenario hasn't changed. This is the pattern, Gio, that a lot of people don't understand. You look back, it has been an ongoing, systematic oppression that you cannot override. At this point, you can't argue that they have become moderate. They have changed their ways. When you sit down and try to negotiate with them, you're out of excuses. But my audience is, of course, very well versed on what's happening in America. So let's come to your end of the pond, UK. I know there's a lot to be said, but one of the things that I am still very mad about is what happened on the third week of the revolution, where Iranians gathered in front of Islamic Republic of Iran's embassy in London, and they were faced by beatdown and arrest by London police. And to this day, I still don't know what their crime was. I don't think anybody was actually charged. So can you walk us through what happened, if anybody was charged, what was the crime, and all of that night?
One thing you need to understand, all the Iranians, they gather outside the regime embassy day and night since the beginning of the revolution. Even way before that, people, they used to go there and they had a protest. So this is not a new thing, but after one of the revolutionists jumped on the top of the embassy, they pulled the flag of Islamic regime down and put the line and sign back. So that basically changed everything, and they sent the security forces, and they became a little bit more aggressive. Even I remember last time I myself, when I went to protest from Downing Street, we all walked towards the embassy. Once we got there, they told me under Act 21, you don't have a permission to stay here. If you stay here, we're going to arrest you. And I asked the officer, I said, look, I'm a British, and as a British, I have a right to ask you questions. So can I ask you why you are so harsh? Why you forcing me to leave this place? I have a right to protest, and there is no such a law to stop you from protesting in the UK. As long as you don't cause any problem with the others, you have a right to protest. And he said, you don't have a right to stay in here because you don't have a permission to stay in here. And if you stay in here under the Act 21, you will be arrested. And they started to film us, every single one of us. We've been filmed by the Met Police. And I realized that the behavior had changed. They became a little bit more aggressive. Whereas before they were quite, how can I say, more more supportive and collaborated, and they try to walk with the protesters. And I just noticed for last 2-3 weeks they become a little bit more aggressive. They said there was a fight earlier outside the embassy. That's why they forced everyone to leave. I don't know what happened exactly, but that's what I was witness, and I saw that they forced us to leave from outside the embassy. On the other hand, you need to understand the mayor of the London, Sadiq Khan, he's part of the Islamic community, and he's the one promoting radicalization and extremism and basically supporting, because he stay on the power by support of the Islamic Muslim community in London. So a couple of my friends, they work for the Met Police. They said a lot of times we get order from above and we are not happy about the whole situation, and sometimes we want to act. Our hands are tied. Sometimes we've been told we have to take action. So what I try to say, if police outside the embassy, they overreacted, they were a little bit harsh towards the protesters, it wasn't Met Police, it was somebody from above ordered to them, you need to cross with them, you need to be harsh with them.
Very interesting. I have my guesses, and some of my audience on the comment section actually have their guesses of where higher above orders might have come from. But we do have to go and take our ad break, Gio. So to our audience, if you have any questions, any comments for Gio directly, put them on the comment section. I'll promise you we'll grab them. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a minute.
What if millions around the world could access Bible teaching and worldview training for free right now without hitting a paywall? That's exactly what happens every day at worldviewtube.com because of the Worldview Weekend Foundation. We don't lock our live stream behind PayPal. We don't restrict our content to members only. Instead, the Worldview Weekend Foundation helps cover the cost of delivering free educational and ministry programming to people across the nation and around the world. And it's not just programming. My Sunday night church service, where I taught verse by verse through Revelation for 18 months, and now I am teaching through the book of Daniel, is made possible through the support of our church, Worldview Weekend Foundation. If you believe this kind of truth-centered biblical teaching must continue, donate today. Go now to worldviewfoundation.com. You'll also find our mailing address and phone number there if you'd rather give by phone or mail. That's worldviewfoundation.com. Thank you.
I second that. As you know, I always tell you there are many reasons to donate to Worldview Weekend Foundation, but personally, the bias of mine says Worldview Tube, under leadership of Brown House, is the reason I have a voice. God forbid, if there is not enough budget for the network to continue, well, my voice is going to be very minimized down to probably, well, my platform only, maybe, I don't know, because I don't know if I even can afford a producer as good as Thomas to help me do the show. So head over to www.foundation.com, make a tax-deductible donation. And at least, as I said, that's just my personal point of view. But as you saw on the ad, there is way more than just my show. There is so much to grab. Head over and support Worldview Weekend Foundation. That way you're supporting the rest of us and our voices. Okay, let's get back to our guest, Gio. We concluded the first segment with orders coming from top above. And I should have I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you this, Gio John. We have this rule on my show. I ask a question. That doesn't mean you have to answer. If you feel like you don't want to answer, you just like next, and we move on from it. You're not obligated to answer everything. I can't help but to think, maybe, just maybe, if the mayor of London was not Mayor Khan, maybe the police reaction would be different towards Iranians. Am I far on that?
Look, it's very hard to say, but according to our sources, even I had a meeting a few days ago inside the parliament across the party, and we were discussing about why UK they don't designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization. You know, Europe they already done it, and US did it long time ago. And the question is why UK they don't designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization. And what we found out about it, because they always said that United States put the block, and they said, don't do it, because we need your embassy in Iran. We need you to have a contact with the regime if we need to negotiate. And then they told me, according to our sources, that wasn't correct. That was a rumors. Came from somebody who's very close to regime and pro-Palestinian. So then later on, they went to find out who's behind this. And the person is behind this is in Foreign Office in London, and we don't know who's that person. That's we try to investigate it and find out about it. So, in another word, Iranian regime, they've got a lot of lobbyists and people in the UK. They only have 5 Islamic centers. It runs by the IRGC. They've got a weekly meeting in London. They promote the extremism, radicalization, anti-Semitism. And British government, they know all about it. For some reason, they let it carry on and it happen. And we don't know why.
It's interesting you said that, because I've heard that rumor. US is the reason UK is not joining the rest of Europe to, it never clicked. Like, I don't see how that would be relevant, but it is. But I'm not either shocked, because as you know, they have NIAC right here in America. That is the direct regime of Iran's lobbyists that walk down our Congress all day long. Some of them give advice to our legislators here in America. But again, I say the same thing for America, by the way. This isn't necessarily me targeting UK, though, you know, as an Iranian, you know, it's always the shadow of British government somehow played a role in destroying Iran. Sorry, I love my British friends, but it is what it is. But it seems like in UK, this now, if we zoom out from IRGC and the regime in Iran for a minute, just the general Islamization of UK is too obvious, and the government of UK not fighting it is even more obvious. So take us inside UK. We know this. We know Islamization is obvious. We know the government isn't doing much, but what are you guys, the British citizens, where are you guys at? Like, are you doing something? Do you even have the rights and the constitutional tools to do anything about it?
You know, in the UK, we have a parliamentary election every 4 years, and that's where you can choose and vote who do you want to support. I myself always voted for Labour and support Labour for the last 15 years, I would say, which I regret. And I'm not going to support Labour for next election. What I can see in a society, I can see frustration, because people, they see everything is mess. Everything's getting behind the control. Radicalization, extremism, groom gangs, and all the pro-Palestinian protests happening every week in London. They carry the flag of Hezbollah, Iranian regime, Houthi in Yemen, and even they chant slogans, which is quite obvious. They are chanting to wipe off Israel from the map, or Infinada, and so on. But they don't do anything. And people that are fed up, and also they're fed up of the mass immigration in the UK, and there is no control over the immigration. Labour government, they promised before they came on the power, they are going to put the cap on immigration. They're going to stop illegal immigration coming to this country. But so far, nothing's happened. Nothing has done. And after Brexit, a lot of Europeans, they went back home. And now we have with the mass immigration that are coming from Middle East, and majority of them, they are male. And we barely see any women with the children that are coming. And majority of these immigrants that are coming through the boats, through the channels to UK, and there is no system to control the whole situation. Everything's getting behind the control. And a lot of refugees that are coming to this country, they don't have the money. And what's happening, according to some of our sources, they are paying to the refugees to come to pro-Palestinian protests every week, and just to push and promote the ideology. And I had a conversation with counterterrorism once. We had a meeting, and I said, look at the shops outside the street. There's a lot of shops in the UK, and they don't do anything. They're just there for money laundering. It's quite obvious. Government, they know.
Wait, hold on.
Metropolis,
What you mean they're just empty stores, or are they actual, like, supposedly running businesses but that they're not running?
So supposedly for the business, but they're not running business. It's always empty. For instance, you see a lot of vape shop, 3-4 vape shop next to each other, or a barber shop, or you see a nail shop, a lot of nail shops, barber shops, and so they're not doing anything. Each time I pass by, they're empty. The question is how you make money to run that business in a very expensive location area, and how you make a living. It is quite obvious that money is just that business running for money laundering, and the government, they know about it, police, they know about it, but it seems they can't do anything about it. There's no one to say, hey, we need to stop this. So obviously, is even in the UK, even if they want to prescribe their IRGC, the question is that going to help and stop the financial source of the regime, or still they bypass the sanction through the money laundering and everything? They can bring their money in here. And don't forget, the regime, they've got quite a lot of assets in London. Just Guardian and Daily Mail, they published an article about asset of Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Khamenei, in London. He's got a billion properties, like an empire luxury property estates in north of London, in one of the most expensive areas. And they all know about it, but nobody doing anything.
So technically, I asked some of these questions might sound really dumb to you, but I don't know the rules and regulations of UK well enough to know. So if it's a perfect world and everybody comes to realize they should do the right thing, if the government in UK decided to seize all the assets of everyone with ties to the regime of Iran, do they have that authority or not?
I mean, it needs to go to, there's a process, but they can do it. There's a process, they can do it. One thing is they put it in action a few months ago. They said if anybody is working with the Iranian regime, they should let us know. There's a form, you need to fill it in. They should let us know you're working with the Iranian regime.
Why would anybody say? Sorry, why would anybody admit to that?
Exactly. So, but what's very interesting, after they say that, then later on it came to surface. There's a guy literally lives in my town, not very far from where I live. He's running the IT business. And he's working with the Iranian regime and sending data to them. So it came to light just 10 days ago. Guardian was like quite loud about it. and we know where does he live, we know what's his business, but nobody done anything. I told to the counterterrorism, I told to the police, but they haven't done anything yet.
And is this individual an Iranian or just a British man or woman?
Iranian. British.
Iranian. Oh, Iranian British. So, like, again, in the perfect world, he could have been investigated, convicted, his citizenship could have been revoked, and he could be deported, right?
Now he still is living just around the corner and nobody touched him yet.
You see, it should be very frustrating, but it is so good to hear these from you, because those of us in America, we think it's just America and they know the bad guys and they're not getting them. And then when I tell my audience that this cancer has spread across the world and it has become a global disease, you just confirm that. It's not America. It's not just Canada. It's. I'm sure if we bring someone from Germany and Italy and France, they're all going to say the same thing. Now, let's step back into zooming in on the Iran Revolution. We are on day 47. And of course, headlines moved on. Therefore, a lot of people think this is it. Everybody went home. Me and you, we know it is not it. This is the last battle, and we're still working on it. But let me break this into two questions. You answer them in whatever order. I know you guys are extremely active, not just in UK, but as a group of Lotus advocacy everywhere. Tell us what it is that you're exactly, like, what is it you're focusing on? Because that's important. That could give my audience ways of understanding how they can help. Secondly, how much support are you getting or not getting from the places and departments that you're trying to communicate with? As you said, for example, counterterrorism, the police department, parliament, any of them. Where are you with them? Are you, I mean, are you even seeing any signs of hope, or have you given up on them and just going solo as individuals to make this happen?
The thing is, I can say there's improvement. I can see the improvement in comparison with a couple of months ago, because we used to send lots of emails to the member of the parliaments, and we got like zero response. And now we have across the party, like some people, I'm working with them, some of the lords and MPs, and they connect me with the teams. We are working together. We've got projects to focus on, is a shared project. And I can see they are very concerned, and they got to the point we have to push the government to prescribe the IRGC, and we need to support the Iranian people. This regime must go. And that was very impressive to see such a things happening in a parliament, in a House of Lords. And they said even there are some people inside the government that are supporting this, but there is a block, like as I said, inside the Foreign Office, and we don't know. And we try to find out about that rat. So what we are focusing at the moment, because we've been working for since the beginning of the revolution very closely with journalists and some of the activists and member of the parliaments. My job, one of the things we do, try to get the story, try to raise awareness, try to get the coverage as much as we can, just be the voice of the Iranians. As you know, better BBC always censor the true voice of the Iranians. They try to normalize the regime, and that's something, it's not new. It's been going on since 1979, and we all know BBC, Ayatollah BBC, they give a big platform to Khomeini and all the lefty Islamists way back before 1979, and they push the false narrative, and they do the same things now, even with the Gaza war. So BBC, they had to apologize and erase 150 times since the beginning of the war in Gaza because of producing the false news. They have to correct themselves. And they do the same thing. They send the reporters to inside Iran for regime anniversary. They broadcast, and that was very heartbreaking. when the woman inside the Tehran said, "Oh, people they are celebrating for the festive holiday," or something like that, and that really made me angry. So what we are focusing at the moment, we try to get the coverage as much as we can in the media, and also we try to gather the evidence to make a case against the Islamic regime for war crime. That's what we are focusing at the moment. And also we try to figure out and what's going on inside the Foreign Office, then make a big news about it. That's our main focus at the moment.
I think that is a great focus because I have, in my own small way, every day, I repeatedly ask people, don't believe, just because headlines moved on, don't believe the narrative. You need to continue being the voice of the Iranian people. Specifically, be the voice of those who were killed. You cannot let these negotiations, these change of narrative. I was screaming here last week on my show over J.D. Vance, who sat there and refused to even acknowledge there is a revolution or even acknowledge that tens of thousands of people have been killed. He just focused on the answer on better nuclear deal with Iran, which was disgusting to me. And that's the thing. They can push this out of the circle of news, and we can't let that happen. Now, with the part of, getting the evidence against the regime, I'm normally a realistic person. I'm neither too positive or negative or whatever. I try to be realistic. But in this specific case, do you really think the same International Criminal Court that dragged Bibi under false accusations of genocide, it's going to ever take up on any evidence we provide them with against the Islamic regime?
That's a very good question, because we know how international courts,
Criminal court.
criminal court are corrupted, like United Nations. Even, let's talk about the United Nations. They congratulate the regime for the anniversary. They invite the foreign minister of the regime to United Nations council meeting. So much going on, and a lot of corruptions you see in the system, either in the international court or in United Nations. That's a good point. But what we try to do, we try to gather the information presented to the government, to the MPs and laws, and push them to cut the ties with the regime. And if we can prove it, Islamic regime committed war crime, then that's going to stop the government in here to make a deal with the regime, to negotiate with the regime, because that's going to questions the government, UK government in here, if they want to make any deal with them in the future. So that's what we try to do. Then in the future, if we can present the case to the international law, like what you said, so it's not in my expertise. We need to talk with the lawyer and people that are involved. They know how to make it, how to file it and process it in the international court. But what we try to do with our capacity, just create that war crime and then present it to the government in the House of Lords or Parliament to say, look, this is a regime we are dealing with. This is a regime you are still doing a business. You don't want to designate the IRGC. This is a regime, you still let the embassy to be open. You haven't expelled the ambassador. So under the international law, this regime committed to war crime. And so you have to stop doing a business with this business. You have to prescribe the IRGC as a terrorist organization. And technically you should close your embassy in Iran and expel the ambassador in the UK and close the embassy.
You heard him. Anybody out there watching, if you are the person, or if you know the person who knows the proceedings for possibly filing any charges against the regime inside the International Criminal Court, get in touch with Geo. Again, we can all play a role. We can give him and his organization exposure. We can be his voice. And his message was, if you know laws and ins and out, do that. If you're inside UK, anywhere in UK, and you are an investigator, you're a researcher, offer your help. And I hope I'm getting the website correct, lutusadvocacy.co.uk, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Perfect.
One thing I just want to mention in here, because I've been in touch with the people inside Iran almost every day. And one of my job is to call them, we do interview with them, record their voice, try to gather the information as much as we can. Every single person I talk to, they said there's no U-turn for us. There's no way back home. We have no choice. We have to carry on, and we are not gonna stop until we overthrow this regime. But what they said we are unarmed, and they are completely armed, and they use all the arms against us. And they said, please send our voice to the world and tell them we need support, we need help, and we need them to come and help us. And one guy said to me last night, he said, I was tortured by the regime. They broke my ribs, they broke my finger, and I would wish to be dead when they tortured me, they beat me up. And that's really affect on my family and my business. But let me tell you something, and I want you to send my message to the world. I can't wait and count the number down until United States and Israel attack here. And I'm willing to die with my family when they strike. Then we see Iran will be free.
Strangely, though, I sit here in Cincinnati, Ohio, of United States of America. I completely relate to what he said. That, as you know, Gio, many of us, I was one of the people who did sign it outside of Iran. We requested for an international military put together by Iranians outside of Iran. And we said, we take arms and we go fight the regime. So no country needs to attack. I'm willing to do that. If I'm sent, if there's an enlisting today for that international military of Iranian dissidents, I'll be the first one to sign up, because you're right. They're right. We're right. As the most abandoned freedom fighters, Iranian people have shown such strength and bravery that they should. I'm not saying that because I'm Iranian. I'm saying that based on factual history of just the modern history of the last 47 years. They should be the symbol of freedom and liberty. For every time, Gio, I hear people say, well, did you not see what happened with Iraq? Did you not see what happened with Afghanistan? I'm like, stop comparing Iranians with anybody. Iranians are not Iraqis. The Iraq-US war was a foreign country coming into the country. Iraqis were never asked, or did they complain about Saddam Hussein? Yes, but let's face it, a lot of Iraqis admired Saddam Hussein. They didn't hate him. They didn't chant death to Saddam Hussein on the streets. Afghans who don't like Taliban, but they never even dared try to do an uprising, let alone 12 of them in 47 years. So there is a difference. And just for the record, from day one, I have requested for United States of America to stay out of it and let Israel finish it, because I don't trust U.S. not hijacking this revolution, but I do trust Bibi not hijacking it. So I just want to put this out there for you to know. My audience already knows. But since we talked about Bibi, and we're coming to an end of our time, but I want you to cover, because one of the things that I'm very, if it counts for anything, I'm very proud of you for doing. We're doing it here in America as well, is fighting anti-Semitism. And that is not, people who do that, for me, you automatically become a clean soul, because fashion is to be against Israel. Fashion is to be anti-Semite. When you go against that huge wave, That is bravery. So give my audience some information about when it happened, how you started, what are you facing in UK when it comes to the rise of anti-Semitism?
That happened right after 7th of October. I felt as a human, I should step in, I should support Jewish people and my fellow Israelis. That's why the first protest happened in our town. They invited me to go and give a speech, and I sent my message as a British Iranian. So we love people of Israel, and we have a common enemy, and we should be united and fight together against the head of the octopus. And then later on, they invited me to the TV in here. I went to the TV, and they tried to question me around 7th of October and what I think about the Gaza war. And I was very direct, tried to be very, how can I say, very diplomatic. But at the end of the day, I tried to be very direct and upfront about my opinion. So what's happened later on, I got the threats, and they told to one of my friends, so we are looking for someone who's a Zionist in the town, and we know what is he doing, because my picture was on the media, it was on the news, and they post my pictures. Even Channel 13 in Israel, they did interview with me after 7th of October, and it was a time I just felt when I was driving, there was a car follow me everywhere, and that's why I had to contact the police, and I said, look, I feel not somebody's follow me, and I don't feel safe. And not only that, unfortunately, some of my friends, they show their true faces, and they fell out with me. They stopped hanging with me. They said, you are Zionist and we can't hang out with you. You're supporting the genocider. So, but I'm really proud, because I live with a clear conscience and I stay in the right side of the history. And I didn't let anybody to change my narrative for sake of friendship or getting death threat or anything like that. And I said, I'd rather to die but stay and stand on the right side of the history, and fighting for the justice, rather than being around the people, try to please everyone. And so basically, that's happened to me since 7th of October, and I think I'm going to carry on. I'm sure I'm going to carry on and stand on the right side of the history for the justice, be voice of voiceless. And it doesn't matter for me, as Iranian, as Israelis, even for my friends in Venezuela. I try to speak up always. I was vocal for them, and I was the one celebrated after United States arrested Maduro, and congratulate all my friends in Venezuela.
Amen. Well, can I ask one follow-up question? Are you a Christian Zionist or a Zionist?
Amen. I'm both. I'm Israel Chai.
It's been as heartbreaking. And sometimes, I'm sure you experience this too. I just wake up in the morning, make a cup of coffee. While waiting for my coffee, I just break into tears. It's hard to go on, do the reporting, look at these faces and these names, and not break down. But at the same time, last few weeks, GeoJohn, has been such a blessing, at least for me in my life, to have you on, to have Dr. Kangarloo on, to have Mariam on. And it's such a proud moment when I can sit here to my lovely, loyal audience of over a decade and say, you see, I told you, I'm not the only one. I am not the exception to the rule. We, the Iranian people, with our roots, history, heritage, the first declaration of human rights, we do consider ourselves children of God, and they have hijacked that choice from us. They have hijacked everything we stand for. So I want you to know, of course, we're in touch off air, but I want you to know that the last 50 minutes or so you spent with us has been a blessing. You are in my prayers. my audience's prayers. You ever need to come back on air with breaking news, with call to action, anything, just text me and I'll make sure we make it happen.
Amen. I really appreciate it. God bless you, and thanks very much for inviting me. And it was a pleasure to be with you and with your audience.
Absolutely. Stay safe and we'll see you soon. Okay, guys, we do have about a few minutes to wrap up, but let's go take our last ad break. I already skipped one of them. Let's take one more ad break. When we come back, we're going to close out the show. Right back.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHouseBG.com.
Us until now, if you're still here, that was such a blessing. I make sure to, as you heard me, he's going to let me know if there's an update on their investigation, the criminal charges they're trying to bring against the regime, and you can support them. I don't necessarily mean financially, but you can support, echo their voice and efforts by going to their website, lutusadvocacy.co.uk. As I said, all the information is in English, and he was speaking English, as you heard the wonderful British accent. So show them some love, show them some support, keep him and the entire team, as I will have the rest of their team on the show as we make progress here, but keep all of them in your prayers, as you heard him again. Isn't that ironic? The moment you go up against Islam, you defend the Jews, you automatically become a target, right? They just, it is so peaceful. They are so peaceful that you just say one thing they don't like, and then you're being, tailed by a car, and your picture is being sent out. It's just amazing that the evidence speaks for itself. But well, there are still those who are willing to deny it, right? So let's pray for their safety. And they're in UK. They don't have some of the luxuries we have here. So they need more prayers and more protection than most of us over here in America. I can see on your comments, on the comment section, that you guys were enjoying the discussion as well. I'm glad. And here's the thing, guys. If you could do me a huge favor, I will remind quickly. I'm trying to gather my thoughts, but if you do want to join our Sunday Norwex party, I need you to reach out to me. It's almost impossible for me to reach all of you. For Substack, I will be sending an email with the link today, but the rest of the platforms, it's hard. So reach out to me. Send me an email. If you're outside of Facebook, send me an email, liveuptofreedom@gmail.com. Just say, I want to join the party. I'll send you the link to join. Also, let me know. I forgot to talk about there's too much talk about. I'm sorry. Can you tell how touched I am? I'm moved. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this. You'll get it. I don't know if any of you have experienced this in life, but sometimes in life, you are in a very crowded room, However, you are so detached from the room itself that you don't see anyone, you don't hear anyone. It's just silence. It's nothing. And then there's one wave across the room, the ballroom. That's the only thing you see. And from their look, you see the next look, and automatically you find a handful of people that are on the same mind wave as you are. And the night becomes, mesmerizing. That's what happened to me every time I have my fellow Iranians, brothers and sisters in Christ, on the show. It's like the waves are connecting, because you have no idea how hard it is, as he said, to overwrite the narrative. Some of you have been with me for over 10 years. And when I started, I wasn't welcomed. I was labeled. I don't mean labeled Islamophobe. No, I was labeled you should go back where you come from. You're from third world country. And to this day, recently Matt Walsh did a video calling all of us again. There's a reason they're from third world country, because they're barbaric and they're illiterate and they're dumb and they're disgusting. And so we still get judged that way, which is okay in a way. But when you know how deep rooted your history and culture is, and people tend not to see it because they heard the narrative from BBC and CBN and CNN and Fox News, it is such a good moment when you just asked one short question, you receive one short answer. You just look at the camera and say, yeah. Fit the narrative. Don't fit the narrative. Keep feeding the population of Western countries that we are bad people and we're from third world countries. And let's not forget another project I told you I'm working, how did third world country become a third world country? Historically, third world country is the existence of human society, but we have turned it into third world country for a reason. Enough of me bragging, I guess. It was so wonderful to have him on, and you guys are amazing for joining the discussion. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Lori. Annalise, yes, Lori, Christ is the bond. Yes, it definitely is. And that's the thing. I'm sure I don't just randomly bring someone on not knowing, but there is a reason when those questions are asked, right? There's a reason that the last question has to be, are you a Zionist or a Christian Zionist? Again, we've been sold as very different people, but that's all right, because grace of God, and at least in last 47 days, the truth is coming out. The mosques are being burned by the very Islamophobe 90 million population of Iran. And I sit here proudly say, truth will come out at some point. So to all the powers out there who try to sell Iranians as the worst people, the barbarics and Muslims and third world illiterate, backward people, your club is collapsing. So you might want to jump that ship. We got to go. I will be back Monday. Okay, I won't be able to do a show tomorrow, guys, but that doesn't mean you should forget about me. I'm here. I exist just because I'm not doing a show. CyrusWellness.com, LUTFstudio.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Again, we do what we do, and we'll never give up, but neither do bills. And I do need your support, especially because this month is a short month. So pick your favorite way of supporting me financially and go with it. 3 possible ways. And I'll see those of you who join us Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the Norwex private party. I can't wait to see you. But until Monday, back here on air, I want you to be safe and vigilant. And I'll see you back here Monday. Bye, guys.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years